Welcome and thank you for joining into today's Positive Forward Motion. This is your host, Denise Scattergood. Each week I discuss a topic that is designed to help you get more of what you do want and less of what you don't want, both personally and professionally. My goal is to add value to others by sharing a topic in 8 minutes or less. Topics that will empower, motivate, and inspire you to have more happiness and success. Today's topic is compassion. I'm sure you'd agree that a little more compassion and understanding is something we could all benefit from, not only giving it, but also from receiving it. So how compassionate would you say you are to others? How compassionate would you say you are to yourself? Well, if you're like most people, you probably can be pretty tough on yourself. Let me ask you, does this sound familiar? When you mess up, you replay it over and over and over in your head and your self-talk as well. Not so nice. How about when you accomplish something or hit your goals? Do you recognize your achievement and give it the same time and attention as when you maybe miss the mark? Well, probably not. Think of it this way. Let's say you're having lunch with a friend who is upset because he just lost his job. What would you say? Well, I'd hope you'd be encouraging, reminding him of his talents and that things sometimes happen for a reason and that he'll be working at a better job sooner than later. How would that conversation go with yourself? Let's say you just messed up a presentation, or you lost your job, or you veered off your diet, or you did something as simple as forgetting something. How compassionate would you say you are with yourself? Well, in an article in Psychology Today, research shows that people who score higher in self-compassion tend to experience less depression, increased motivation, more optimism, greater happiness, and higher life satisfaction. And just as I mentioned earlier, when you are tough on yourself, you are most likely tough on others like your spouse, kids, friends, colleagues, and even complete strangers. And when we learn to stop judging and we learn to live with compassion and love in our hearts, we genuinely start to feel a closeness and a positive connection to others, even complete strangers. So today, I'm going to give you 6 ways to add more compassion into your life. So here's number 1. Give yourself a break. The next time you're about to give yourself a hard time, stop and ask yourself, would you let a friend talk to you this way? Then replace those negative words with positive encouragement and remember to be your own best cheerleader because really, who spends more time with you than you? Nobody. And you are very important somebody. So be nice to yourself. Okay. Number 2, practice forgiveness. Holding on to anger and resentment is like taking poison and waiting for the other person to die. So practice forgiveness and start practicing how to forgive sooner than later. And start small. Work your way up to bigger things. So think of it like this. You know that car that cut you off on the freeway? Rather than get all mad, pause. Remember, it's not a personal vendetta against you. I mean, what the heck? They don't even know you. Or how about that fender bender? You know it's called an accident, right? It's not an on purpose. So practice forgiveness. And I'm going to share this one with you, which is a true story. I was at the movies a couple months ago, when we could go to the movies and do those things. And it was one of those theaters where you could select your seat in advance. Well, the rows and the numbers were really difficult to see. And a man came into the theater and he was about to lose it on a person who was in his seat. I intervened quickly. I let him know that everyone was having trouble seeing the numbers and we were all mixed up our seats and no one was trying to cheat him out of the great seat that he selected. Well, my words and tone were kind and compassionate. And then he turned to the person and apologized, saying he just had a stressful day and he didn't mean to take it out on them. Number 3, stop judging. The best way to do this is to replace judging with curiosity. I like to say it like this. Put on your curiosity hat and take a look at what you're about to judge. Because when we label everything as either right or wrong or good or bad, it can cause us to overlook situations and miss out on some really cool learning opportunities and miss out on opportunities where we can be compassionate and kind to others. Number 4, be thankful and practice gratitude. If you're having a tough time being compassionate with someone who's gone through a tough time because, quite frankly, you think that, well, it's just not that big of a deal, then you should count your blessings and be thankful that perhaps you're stronger and maybe have a better sense of self. Then show them compassion. Because remember, we all deal with things differently, and this would be a really perfect time to help them rather than condemn them. Number 5, put things in perspective. A 5-year-old who loses it because he lost his favorite toy is a big deal. Have compassion, because if all of a sudden you lost your car, I'm sure you'd freak out too. Number 6, listen, and listen some more. Sometimes the best way to be compassionate is to just listen and not go into fix-it mode. And be sure you're an active listener. This would mean that you should also ask questions to better understand how the other person is feeling. And many times, just being a good listener is all it takes to be extremely compassionate. I once heard the saying, compassion is a verb, and I couldn't agree more. Compassion is an act that involves putting others before yourself. And like all things, it becomes easier with practice. Thank you so much for listening. If you like this episode, please rate and review and share this podcast to help us spread our message of positive forward motion. And don't forget, you can follow me for more daily doses of positivity on Instagram and Facebook at Denise Scattergood, and you can find me on Twitter at Alert Trainers. You can also opt in for my daily text messages by texting the word positive to 313131. And remember, each episode comes with a free worksheet to help keep you on track. It's simple. Just go to denisescattergood.com. You can find a free PDF download link under each episode. And be sure to tune in every Wednesday for a brand new episode. And remember, no matter how small your step is, as long as you're taking it in the right direction, that's what I call positive forward motion.